Good morning everyone, Cheryl here with Kaszazz with Cheryl K. Today we're going to make a shaker card. So this is a 6x6, we'll be doing a standard size card today. And as you can see in the window there, it's got little bits that move and that's why it's called a shaker card. So let me show you how to do this. So you're going to start with, well, I'm going to start with just a normal card base from Kaszazz, and that is 21 centimeters across and 14.7 centimeters height. So I've already folded mine, so there we go. Folded it. I've put a lining inside just to make things go a bit faster. So this base here is 10.5 by 14.7, and we're going to need up to 5 layers depending on how thick your cardstock is. I'm using some other smooth card bases from Kaszazz, so I've cut 5 of these down to 10.5 across, 14.7 upways height. Now I've already stuck, and I've used a die cut. Use a die cut of your choice, but something with smooth edges is probably better to start with than say scalloped or pokey in edges, fancy edges. Just straight edges until you get used to making them. So I've already stuck 5 together, so you may be able to cut 2 pieces at a time depending on your die cutting machine. I've used an oval today. So just because that's what I had to fit on this size card nicely. So you stick them together, and I used a wet glue because you can get right up around the edges and then nothing will get caught. You can also use crafting foam. I'll show you some of that and cut those out. Whatever colour you want, just cut it to your card size as you would your cardboard, and use a couple of layers, and your die cuts will cut through them. I did use it on this one, but it seems that the sequins were getting caught a little bit. I don't think I used wet glue on that one either. So you can use this, but if you use paper or cardstock, you get a smoother edged finish. So we will stick this on first. So just stick 1 layer at a time, cut 2 if you can at a time, line them up with the next ones. And if you cut your cardstock a little bit bigger than what you originally need and put your die cuts in, then you can always trim them to the the same size and line up the centers a little bit easier, because if they're not lined up, it's just going to stick out a little bit more. So this one will go straight on top there. This is going to give us our depth for our shaker bits. Sorry if that's a bit shady there. The weather's not shining today. Alright, so glue all your edges down. Whatever wet glue you've got, you can always use double-sided tape around the outside, but this center bit, it's just better. I don't know which way I have it. And it wasn't that way, that's not the right way, but it's going to do now. Make sure you know which side to put it back on, girls. It will be okay. Alright, so that will dry in a minute, and if you want to colour the edges, feel free to do that. Alright, now we're going to do a sea theme for this one. This piece here, so when you line up these, this will then go on top of your card base, which again I'll use wet glue. I'll just work out which way this has got to go so I don't do the same mistake I've just done. And I've left myself a little bit of a border on the top layer, which I'll explain in a minute, but that's going to go there. Okay, so now we're going to glue this bit down onto the card front. You can cut it a little bit smaller than the card front if you like, around the perimeter. I'll tell you one thing I didn't get ready, and that was the acetate. Got a piece here, look at that. This is called acetate. I don't know if you can see that piece of plastic now. Kaszazz does sell it, but you can buy it at other places too. I'm not sure where because I've only bought it through there, but I do know that you can get it at other places. It's a clear plastic. It's also what's in a lot of packaging. So if you've got some clean, smooth stuff from packaging, go for it. Cut it down to size, do what you got to do. So this is actually going to go there, and then that's going to go down. So what I'm going to do is just cut this down so it fits the oval. It just has to fit the oval. So it doesn't have to be perfect because it's not going to be seen. It just has to fit inside that, because that is what is going to hold our shaker bits down. Now it'd be best to glue this down with some double-sided tape. So it's called acetate, plastic sheeting. You don't want to be able to see it, but you don't want to, so that your sequins fall. Well, they won't fall, but you know, I'll do it around the edges here, so that way you can't see the tape. Now this is only the second one I'm making, so you know it's not going to be perfect. Needs lots of practice, but be willing to give something a go. Something new, something different. It's a little bit of fun. This is not my idea whatsoever. I have learnt this off YouTube. Again, it's the best place to learn things. Just making sure that you cover the centre bit, because that is going to go on there once we get our sequins in. Okay, so far let's recap. We have a card base. This one is 21 centimeters by 14.7 centimeters. I've already cut my inside layer there, half a centimeter smaller in height and width to put in there, and edged it. Now the front for the shaker part, you will need 4 to 5 layers, depending on how thick your cardstock is, of 10.5 centimeters, that way, 10.5 centimeters by 14.7. You can do them smaller, so that way you've got a bit of a border, and then do your die cut and line them up on each one that you do, so you get this thickness for your shaker bit. And we're going to stick a centerpiece in there, in the background. I'm going to decorate that. So because I'm doing a sea theme, I have done some fishes and starfish on mine. Some fish and starfish on mine, which I'll just stick in there. And this is just the offcut of this, the centerpiece of that, so you know it's gonna you know it should fit. You just got to get it in there. Under those layers, I suppose. Get in there. There we go. That's my background. Now, as for the shaker pieces, use what you want. Don't use anything too thick